Hello and welcome to SEC Basketball Predictions in the NCAA Tournament. I'm your host, Chris Lee, joined by Max Barr, Brian Edwards, Blake Lovell. Today we will be breaking down Missouri's matchup against Drake, the 6th seed against the 11th seed. You can catch that on truTV or in person in Wichita, 6:35 on Thursday night. The predictive computers have got Missouri by about 8 points, but boy, this is one of these games where good luck to you getting a grasp on this, because Drake is one of those teams I think a lot of coaches were going, my goodness, I hope we don't get those guys in our matchup, because they are a problem to play against. Lowest adjusted tempo in the country, basically an entire new roster. This is going to be a fascinating one to talk about. Max Barr, I'll pitch it to you to start us off. Where would you like to go?
Man, oh man, this is going to be one that separates a few of the standings in the first round bracket pools. If you're anything like myself, after every game, I'm going to the bracket pool app, refreshing. I want to see my name high up on the standings. This is a game right here. You might get a little separation. Drake against Missouri. We got a 6.5 point spread. That'll be a favorite for Missouri. Minus 275 on the money line. Interesting stat here. Blake's probably going to talk about the VSiN guide. VSiN had a crazy stat here with the under, because I know we'll probably have a lot of gamblers watching this. Here we go. The last 26 times a 6 seed has been favored by 4 points or more, the under is hitting at an 80% rate. 25-1 to the under. The last 26 times a 6 seed has been favored by 4 or more. We have that in this game. The total, guys, is at 132.5. This thing's going to be a slugfest.
Well, I'm telling you right now, you got a team in Missouri who has not played their best basketball down the stretch, and you look at the points they've given up. We talked about that, right? In their last 5 losses now, they've given up 92, 97, 96, 91, 95. So this whole understat is music to the ears of Missouri fans. They're like, we're not letting this thing get into the 90s. No chance when it comes to this. We know one of the reasons why that could be the case, too, is because of the way that the Drake plays. And, 22 seconds, the average offensive possession length for Drake. They are going to work you and work you and work you some more. And I think, again, if you're Missouri fans, you want to see this defense find its previous form, because it was not that long ago we were talking about how impressed we were by Missouri defensively. And that, to me, was what this game comes down to, is just, are you going to be able to, again, get back to finding that sort of rhythm defensively, knowing you're going to have a team that's going to make you work a bit on that side. They're going to try to get the good shots. But there are also some statistical things with Drake that we're going to talk about in a second. I know they're a 30-win team, but there are some things, too, that I think Missouri can exploit when it comes to this matchup. Brian, what do you think about this one? Because, again, I think this is such a fascinating setup for this 6-11 type matchup, which we always have one of these in the tournament. I don't think there's any doubt that when we look at this one, this is just one of the more fascinating ones, maybe in recent years for me when I look at these two.
Yeah, big-time contrasting styles. I think the team that's probably the best comp for Drake is probably St. Mary's. I'll point out that Drake only played one team that's in the field, and that was Vandy, and beat them 81-70 in Charleston. I'll point out that Bennett Sturts is a fantastic player, 18.9 points per game, 5.9 assists per game, 4.4 rebounds per game, 2.2 steals. His shooting splits 49.7, 38.1 from 3, 79.4 from the free throw line. I saw a mock draft a few days ago where he was like in the 30s, like early second round pick. So, they've got they got one guy at least that's a big time player. As for the totals, because we pointed out the adjusted tempo for Drake, obviously being last or first, whichever way you want to look at it. So Missouri's had 2 totals in the 130s. This is the lowest, but they had a total of 135 against the Vols, and it went way over 81 game, for 166. And they also played Mississippi Valley State, I think, the 139, and it went over 111 to 39. And I will point out that the under is on a 6-2 run for Drake. But outside of those two totals for Missouri in the 130s, their third lowest total of the season was 144.5, and that went way over against Chris Beard's Rebels. And Missouri's totals, the over is 20-13 overall, and it's on a 12-5 run. And a lot of those totals in the 150s and 160s, and even a couple in the 170s. So, yeah, contrasting styles to say the least.
All right, some stuff of interest on the Drake roster, just some things to watch. Again, we talked about the tempo. Their coach, Ben McCollum, was a 4-time national champ at the Division II level. His name is on a lot of radars as we're speaking for other coaching jobs around the country. Bennett Sturts, their point guard, was one of McCollum's guys. Graduate transfer number 91 rated player in Evan Mia this year. Almost a 3 assist to turnover ratio, very efficient 3-point shooter, 39%, 55% on twos, 80% free throw rate. Sturts and Mitch Muscari are number 1 and number 2 in the country on KenPom in minutes usage of their team. Don't come out of games. Muscari, a graduate guy, kind of more of a glue guy than a standout. Yeah, guys, it's a roster where they'll play about 8 guys, but those 2 don't come off the floor. Just one of the weirdest statistical matchups we'll see, I think, in the tournament, Max.
Yeah, over the last 3 games in the conference tournament for Drake, only let up 151 points. Opponents are averaging 50 points a game over the last 3 against Drake. And Drake's already proven they can beat high major competition. Vandy, like you mentioned, also has already beaten a really athletic team in Kansas State as well. So they've already proven they can do it. However, let's look at Missouri against these slow-paced teams. The 4 slowest paced teams in SEC play was South Carolina, Tennessee, A&M, and Georgia. Missouri almost beat Tennessee, 4-point loss at Knoxville. So that was not a bad result at all. 30-point win at home against South Carolina. That was a great result. 3-point loss at home against Texas A&M. Rebounding got them. And then a 3-point win on the road where it's very hard to play in Stegman. So in SEC play against the 4 slowest teams, pretty good results for Missouri. Pretty good results.
Yeah, I think this one is pretty matchup-wise clear to me in terms of what Missouri has to do to win this game. And that is attack, 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 and keep attacking. Because we all see the number that stands out for Drake defensively. We all know what the number is. 303rd nationally in 2-point percentage defense. They're allowing teams to shoot 54.3% in the Missouri Valley. Not an SEC team like this who we talk about Missouri, right? They're going to have the size advantage here. They're just ridiculously athletic when you talk about what Mark Mitchell can do. And, Tamar Bates, we've seen him just go downhill and just, Tony Perkins can get into the lane, all these things that we talk about with this team. And so I know, Missouri is a team that we said excels at getting to the free throw line. And I think it's just they have to be in attack mode from the jump here because, like you said, Max, they've done well against these slow-tempo teams. But if they can get it going the way they want to, find a way to get out in transition, and just go to the rim, just, again, attack, try to get to the rim, get to the free throw line. They're so good at that. I mean, the percentages tell us that could be an issue for Drake here in terms of being able to defend in that area. We also know Missouri can shoot the 3. Drake's pretty good there, allowing teams only to shoot 32%, 65th nationally. But Missouri, top 40 3-point shooting team. So I do think offensively there are some things where everybody's going to focus on the Drake offensive element here when it comes to just their ability to slow this thing down. But I really like the aspect of Missouri offensively in terms of the ways they can attack this Drake team. So
All right, let's get to picks and why. We'll start with you, Max Barr, and then I'll go next.
Not gonna lie, guys. Not gonna lie. When we sat there and we did our live stream the night the bracket got released, and we saw Missouri is the 6th seed, Drake is the 11th. I don't feel like that anymore. As you dive into the matchup, you got to give credit to Drake. You know, the coaching is incredible, and like Brian said, they've got an NBA point guard who is number 1 in the nation in minutes played per game. So they are as rock solid as it gets. However, I think the SEC and what Missouri has done this year is built to win a game like this. Missouri's worst loss of the entire season was game 1 against Memphis, who's 51st in KenPom. Drake is 58th. This would be the worst loss of the whole season for Missouri. And I know that the defense has been lackluster as of late. I almost kind of like that. They're not going to be working on anything other than this week than tightening up all the miscues that have been, you know, kind of unearthed over the last 2 to 3 weeks over this defense. I like Missouri here to win this game. I'm picking the Tigers. Even though initially I didn't like the matchup, I feel pretty confident now.
Max, you and I are seeing this a lot alike because when this came out, I was just like, oh no, not that for Missouri. And I saw when Drake beat Vanderbilt. I don't know how to describe it. Maybe it's been 3 months, but they just do weird things and make you uncomfortable. And here's one thing. I don't think I've ever seen this, guys. I'm going back and looking at what Drake did this season. When Drake played Murray State on February 4th, it won 55-45 in a 49 possession game. I don't know if I've ever seen a possession game in the 40s in the history of KenPom, but that's what Drake can do. Very well coached. On the other hand, I think hitting the boards is one thing that Drake can do, but I don't know that they played a team, you know, with a guy like a Josh Gray. Missouri's got some size, you know, but I think the thing with the Missouri is I just saw Caleb Grill. Like when Missouri needed a big play in a big game, he's a veteran guard that can do that, not just hit a shot, but make a very smart, instinctive play. We talked about Perkins taking a bigger role. He's a point guard that's played a ton of ball. I just think Missouri's got a lot of parts and a lot of experience. This one does scare the pants off of me from a Missouri perspective, but I haven't thought about it. Haven't picked Drake in my gut bracket. I'm going Missouri too. Brian?
I'm gonna go with Missouri as well, but I do think this is gonna be a 40-minute battle all the way to the finish. I do like Drake plus the points. In fact, I'll point out Drake has been an underdog 6 times this year, and they've won outright in all 6 of those games. When they were in Charleston, as I mentioned earlier, they beat Vandy. They also beat FAU and Miami. I think that was before Nigel Pack got hurt. So, you know, a little better Miami team that we saw than we saw in January and most of the early parts of February. And as Max noted, they beat K-State in Kansas City, and they won at Bradley and at Northern Iowa. And they've only lost 3 times, and the losses, 1 by 4, 1 by 2 against a Bradley team that is in the NIT and pretty good, top 100 KenPom. I'm pretty sure. Let's see, Bradley, 95 barely, and then they lost by 7. But if you want to buy the hook from 6.5 to 7, there you go. They haven't lost by more than 7. So I will go Missouri to win outright and Drake to cover. And I would lean to the over just because Missouri doesn't play games in the 130s.
All right. So if you're looking at Drake, we go to our friend Mr. Bart Torvik. They have one thing in common in terms of if you look at the similar profiles and all that when it comes to like team efficiency and everything like that. Guess who that was? James Madison last year. Another 30-win team who came out and just took it to Wisconsin, advanced on. So that is one of the similar comps that they have to them when it comes to Drake's profile here coming into this game. Not a lot of teams come into the game, you know, with this kind of profile. So I can't imagine there are a ton to pull from when it comes to that. Drake's another strength for them is, we've said it, forcing turnovers. Missouri's done a good job of preventing that this year. They take care of the ball pretty well, whereas we mentioned Drake has not necessarily done that, and Missouri forces turnovers pretty well too. Yeah, all you guys are picking Missouri here, which contractually leaves me with no choice because if I were to pick Missouri, Missouri fans will absolutely just – it will not be fun when it comes to their thoughts on my pick here. So we know what I have to do. It's been the running theme all season long. Missouri fans, I'm not going to let you down. Don't worry. You were probably sitting there thinking, man, all three of these guys have picked Missouri. Is Blake really going to put the Southeastern 16 kiss of death on the Tigers? Dennis Gates has returned to the NCAA tournament. Are you kidding me? Do you really think I'm going to do that? There's not a chance in the world. The Drake is the pick.
Max, are SEC coaching staffs aware of the kiss of death?
I think one might be. One specific staff might
Yeah.
be.
Which coaching staff
what
is
I
that,
hear.
Max? Please let us know.
I don't know. So let me know.
We cannot divulge that, but there might be a reason I brought that up in this video.
Yes.
You're welcome. guys.
Anyway, if you have a strong opinion on this game, boy, I know the place you can go with that, Blake.
Drake. Bracket bids is where you can go. I'm trying. I'm doing my best here. This one makes me a little nervous. Enter into the free pick'em contest or start an auction draft league with your friends, family, or coworkers. You can do it at friends at Bracket Bids. They'll have all the details on what you need to get set up over there. For league play, use that promo code SE16 for 40% off. SE16, 40% off. Download the Drake app today. Bracket Bids app today, or visit them at bracketbids.com. Drake. All right. Man, superstition's a hell of a thing. You know, if only I wasn't superstitious. All right. There you go.
Thank you for watching basketball content here at the Drake channel. I'm your
For
host,
Drake
Chris
Lovell.
Lee.
Chris
Drake
Lee, Max
for Drake
Barr,
Lovell.
and Brian Edwards.
Yeah. God bless you. We're out of here. See you later.